What do you mean you don't have hot sauce? This is Texas. We put Tabasco on cornflakes. You can play it safe if you want to, but you gotta risk it to get that biscuit. When it comes to business, you gotta look out for the cookout. That's how we do it in Texas. What do you mean my accent is too southern? Well, we're fixing to get it on Solve for X. Welcome to Solve for X, the podcast where curiosity meets collaboration. I'm Dr. Rick Fernandez, your host on this journey into the heart of education and innovation. Welcome to Solve for X, and we're looking at today's problems with a different lens. And what a great way to kick off the show than highlighting someone in our armed forces, our Navy. Brenda Robinson, the guest, joining me for the first time. And Brenda, will you please just share your rank and your role in the Navy?
Good morning. So my name is Navy Counselor First Class Petty Officer Robinson. I am a Navy career recruiter.
So, all right. So I've got to ask, how did you get started in the Navy? I mean, did you know from growing up, like in fifth grade, you were like, all right, I'm going to the Navy, or how did it come about?
So no, I actually am the first one in my family to have ever joined any of the branches of the military. So my first contact with anybody in the military or a veteran was one of my U.S. history teachers in middle school. He was an Air Force vet. So that kind of always just stuck with me. I asked him, well, why did he do it? He said it was kind of a segue into a career. So for him, that was teaching. I ended up joining my senior year of high school. I was in the first semester. I turned 17 in October, so that's the soonest I could go see a recruiter. Ironically enough, my mom was at the nail salon next to the Navy office getting her nails done because she was leaving on a cruise. So I walked in next door. I asked them for the Air Force number, remembering that teacher. And then they said, hey, why don't you sit down and make an appointment with us? And I said, sure. Made an appointment the next week, sat down with my recruiter. They told me about Navy travels. Navy has aviation as well. I didn't even know what the Navy was. Being from Riverside, California, having one of the largest naval bases just 2 hours away, I had no idea that even existed.
That's crazy. Okay, so I got to ask, moms at the nail shop, who was hardest to convince that, hey, I want to chase this dream? Like, was there anybody in particular in the family that was like, oh, what are we doing?
So both my parents are from Mexico, so they're very, I'd say the small town mentality. They didn't know anything about the military, so they were very scared. I am the third oldest out of 9 siblings, and I have an older sister and an older brother. And not even my older brother ever thought of the military. So for them, they're like, oh no, our little girl going into the Navy? What is this? So they were a little bit concerned. My mom was very for it. She's like, if this is what you want to do, that's fine. Let's sign. And my dad, he was just, well, if this is what you want, then okay, you can do it. I'll be honest. My dad didn't really believe that I was going until the day before I left. When I said, bye, Dad, my Navy recruiter's here. I'm going to boot camp tomorrow. And he's like, wait, where are you going? I said, the Navy. I told you 9 months ago when I signed up. And then I was gone.
So he just kind of like put it out of his mind and like, maybe she'll forget about it, right? Not that, yeah. Well, yeah, parents have a habit of doing that when sometimes the news they get is not necessarily what they were expecting. Okay, so you're going to boot camp. What's the first thing that you realized, okay, this is way different than what I expected, or something that was like, I've never experienced this, and it took a minute to kind of get up to speed, if you will. Was there anything that's like immediately just like, you're like, okay, totally different than what I'm used to?
I wouldn't say that it was necessarily something that I wasn't used to. I was envisioning the Navy and the military in general as a very hardcore environment. I was assuming something out of like a movie in the 80s where, you get to boot camp, they're in your face 24/7, they hit you, and I was all for it. But I got there and I was very surprised. They were actually very professional. At that time, that's when the Navy started shifting to not cursing. So it wasn't that type of environment. Was it intense? Yes. Was it difficult? Yes. But was it as difficult as I expected? No.
That's
I expected
awesome.
to be the weak link, and I wasn't.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome to you, a little bit more of a comfort level, because that's how I envisioned it. And then obviously I'm older than you, but thinking that when you would sign up for the armed forces, like they were just gonna like beat you down to get to basic training, and then you go immediately like to war. Like in my brain, that's how I envision all of this transpiring. So it's good to hear that a little bit of a different experience. Now, you have been very successful, not only within the Navy, but you've learned some skills, you've got some advanced degrees. Talk a little bit about how you go from enlisting and then like the opportunities that are available that probably students don't realize.
So within just the Navy in general, we have a lot of advancement opportunities. So we have our ranking system. In the
Sure.
enlisted side, it's E1 through 9. So I went enlisted. With that, you have different opportunities. The highest level you can enlist at is an E3. I actually ended up enlisting as an E2 because at that time we had a referral program. We still have one now. Before it was you refer 2 people, they join the Navy, you get E2. You refer 4 people, they join the Navy, you get E3. If any one of those went in as a nuclear engineer or special warfare, they counted as 2 people. So I actually had somebody in one of my calculus classes, well, in my calculus class, that he didn't get accepted to the Naval Academy. And I was like, hey, I'm in the Navy. You wanted to go Navy? Come talk to my recruiter. He ended up joining as a nuclear engineer. So I ended up getting that credit for referring him. So I went into boot camp as an E2. Within boot camp, we have different opportunities. There's different positions. So we want to look for leadership from the beginning. So I was like assistant everything. I was always helping everybody. So it was perfect because I did enough to get noticed, not enough to get in trouble all the time. So I ended up getting advanced by my RDCs. We call that a meritorious advancement. So I got advanced to E3 the day I graduated from boot camp. And then after that, we have a minimum time that has to be met to be in each rank before you're eligible for the next one.
Okay.
So from E3 to E4, it was 12 months. I actually did not pick up E4 right away. The advancement exam because I came in as an electrician's mate. Um, the advancement exam at the time, it went from 100% to 50%. I missed it by 1.48 my first time. And then the second time, I went from a 50% advancement to 17. So it dropped down even more. Then I made it on my third time. But even then, because I got advanced to E3 so early, when I advanced to E4, it was still at the regular timeline as if somebody was doing it their first time up.
Sure.
After being in E4 for 12 months, I was eligible to now take the exam for E5. So when we start moving up in ranks, there's exams that we have to take. They're basically level of proficiencies. We also get evaluated annually, and based off your annual evaluation, it counts towards points towards your exam. So everything we do on a day-to-day basis helps us advance. So if you are a superstar sailor, you do your job, you do it well, and there's extra collateral duties that we can do, volunteer, education, that all plays a huge part into our annual evaluation in order for us to promote faster. So I actually studied hard, and that is the best thing that I love about the Navy. Not that I didn't like school, but I've always been very into math. Not so much the science, the English. So it was very great being able to take an exam that was going to affect my exam on what I actually do for the Navy. So when I took my electrician's main exam, at that point, I had already been for E5. I had already been in the Navy for 3 years. I studied really hard, and it was things that I had already been doing for 3 years. I advanced my first time up. Um,
Let me ask a quick clarification for the audience. So, like when you're advancing rank from E1 to E2 to E3, what do you have that you didn't have at the lower rank? Is it more money, more responsibility? Just a little bit to kind of so everybody can understand the advancement.
So for advancement in the Navy, we group our ranks. So from E1 to E3, those are depending on whatever job you have. So I used to be a fireman because engineering, we call it ourselves firemen. If you are in the aviation, you're an airman. If you are in any surface rate, you're a seaman. So we have our E1 to E3. We like to think of them as our worker bees.
Okay.
Then once you hit between E4 and E6, those are our more supervisor roles. That's when you get more leadership, more responsibility. People work under you. And then E7 and above, those are our chiefs. Chief, senior chief, master chief. So those are more of our higher subject matter expert leaders. managers. So when you get to E4, now you get that responsibility. That's actually when you start wearing the perched eagle with the chevrons, and that's how you know you're a petty officer. So you're a non-commissioned officer at that point. With that, yes, increased responsibility. I will say in the Navy at E5 is when you gain the most responsibility. I, however, was an E4 already leading a work center, so I had more responsibility than the average E4 within my job, within my ship. And that, again, that counts towards our annual evaluation for us to advance faster. Then for me, it took me 3.5 years to pick up E6, which is very fast. I took the exam one time. At that point, I was at my next command. I was recruiting. I knew there was 2 ways at my command at that time period that would give me the best odds of getting that meritorious advancement. Again, getting meritorious advance, that means you get selected, you're in the top 10% of your command, they feel like you deserve it because you're performing at that next level. So I actually decided I wanted to go, instead of being the number 1 recruiter at my command, I said, I'm going to become a second class leading petty officer, lead my own office. And that's what I did. I learned my job. I worked really hard. I got qualified. And I did not stop asking for my own station until they finally allowed me the opportunity. And then they gave me the meritorious advancement at that time.
That's awesome. I mean, it seems like you've moved up through the ranks rather quickly. Now, talk a little bit about being an electrician, because in my mind, when I hear electrician, I'm thinking, all right, well, all of the stuff I can't fix around my own house. But what are you actually working on? What type of technology are you able to use, and what skill sets in terms of electrician in the Navy?
Okay, Rick. Well, for starters, we have the ASVAB. The ASVAB is the entry-level test. Every branch has to take it. The good part about it is based off of your current knowledge when you take the ASVAB is what's going to be offered to you. A lot of people think, hey, I want to be a nuclear engineer. Unfortunately, you don't currently have the level of knowledge to be a nuclear engineer. But how about,
not me?
and you know what? And that is okay, because the Navy's going to put you in a position where you will be successful, because that is our job at the end of the day. That is our goal, is to make sure that you're going to be successful in whatever it is you do. So ironically enough, the electrical portion of the ASVAB was actually my lowest score, and I ended up being an electrician. But because of how the different sections add up together, my math was just very off the charts, so I was able to qualify for the electrician job. I had zero idea what they did. Honestly, I literally said this. I said, I just play with wires. And it was a lot more than that. We actually do a lot of mechanical work. So we work on motor controllers, generators, pumps, special frequency converters. We work on smaller things, not just transformers, but we work on outlets, lighting, 120 volts. And I was actually an aircraft carrier, so we worked all the way up to 4,160 volts. We would the reactor electricians, they would create the power, and they would go to our transformers. From that transformer down, that's what my division did. We were responsible for all electricity across our aircraft carrier.
Wow. Okay. So, I'm fascinated, and I've loved everything military since I was a small kid. The size of an aircraft carrier and all of the electrical components, it's got to be mind blowing, probably, to somebody that would see it for the first time. How do you keep everything in order? How do you keep the teams moving smoothly, like when there is a problem? I mean, obviously, our military is the best in the world, so there's systems in place. But just from your perspective, coming in the leadership, how did you learn how to do that and get up to speed to be able to support, a huge aircraft carrier that's got just millions of parts, millions of things to consider for it to operate correctly?
Still on our aircraft carrier, because it is much larger, we do have to split our divisions up into different work centers. So every work center has their specialties. So I actually worked in the lighting and power work center, which the primary responsibilities that we had were to be in charge of 120 volts and below. And then we also own some bigger equipment, like the aft steering, which is the steering on the aft part of the aft means the back part of the ship. We also own different motor controllers. All of the fire pumps, motor-driven fire pumps are what we use to control the seawater, whether that's for our fire mains or firefighting systems or for our list control. So filling different tanks in order to balance the ship so it doesn't just teeter-totter over.
That's
So we have a lot of different shops in place that specialize in these things. We have tracking systems in order to be able to track, hey, this went out. Somebody can go, we call it a trouble ticket, where they put in a trouble ticket that comes in through our system. We're able to pull that up. It's a live system. So we work very well together.
Is it so as you learn these skills, right, and you leave and you come back, or you go on furlough, or you buy your home, does it translate? Are you able to do some things for your house or for a friend, or some just small pieces where, like, I know how to do that, like simple, where before you joined the Navy you're like, okay, I would have never been able to rewire my garage so all the lights work better. So is it, how transferable are the skills, and are you able to use them outside of your role at the Navy?
So the skills, especially mine being an electrician, it's a trade, right? It's very transferable. The only difference is having to learn how the power works on a ship versus on home. So in a ship, we have our 60/60, but on homes, it's 120/0. Not just the ground is zero, but also the other line. So it's slightly different. It still is electricity. The base is the same. It's very similar and it's easy to transfer. I'll be honest, I've done electrical work on my own home. I know many of my colleagues, they also would do their own electrical work. Now, do we ever have to call somebody? Yes, because legally by this, we're not certified yet. But if we were
Sure.
to get certified, we'd be able to do it and we'd be able to become contractors.
That's awesome. So that's my next question is, okay, so what's your vision for the next 5 years? Do you see yourself just working your way up the ranks of the Navy? Do you see yourself going and getting a certification and starting your own electrical business? Like, what do you see as your future?
So again, this is the most beautiful part about the Navy is that no matter what you do in the Navy, that is not what you have to do outside of the Navy, but you can take those skills with you. So being an electrician taught me how to work with different systems, even though I might not be working with electricity directly, because now being a career recruiter, I work in more of the human resource realm, which is still completely not what I'm going to do. So in the next 5 years, I'll still be in the Navy because currently I'm about to be at my 12-year mark. I plan on retiring at 20 years. So that way I have my monthly pension coming in and any other disability benefits that I may get. And then I'm going to hopefully by then either one, be completely done or be close to being done with my master's. I'm currently working on my bachelor's degree in mathematics that I plan on transferring to get my master's for certified anesthesiology assistant. And again, completely not what I do now. But I'm getting funded by the Navy to go to school, and I'm able to take one class at a time, sometimes two, depending on my workload. So it's very possible to do all these things. And that's not even electrical related. Now, if I want, I can transfer my certs over to the civilian sector and go into that realm. But currently, that's not my plan. But it is something that I always have in my back pocket just in case all else fails or if life takes a different turn.
How much freedom, because I hear you talking and you've thrown some curveballs of kind of what you do now versus, all right, I think anesthesiologist. Okay, well, um, how much freedom just as learning these different skills giving you, like, for your future? Because I hear you, and you may 5 years down the road see something else that you're very curious, but you have these skill sets, and you're good at math, which always helps. Like, is it just really freed up your future to, like, okay, the possibilities are really endless, and I can pick and choose as I need to of what I'm interested in.
Absolutely. So, a huge thing that most companies that I see are looking for, and I get this information not just from doing the research myself, but from people that we actually enlist, because we have people that come with degrees. Unfortunately, either one, their GPA wasn't the best, or they really just can't find employment because a lot of employers want work experience. all of my different skills that I've learned, whether that's me picking and choosing some of the skills that I learned from being an electrician on a ship, I can use leadership skills. I can take a stressful work environment, long, vigorous hours, whatever it is that I want to pinpoint from there. Then I could take my sales skills and my human resources skills from being a career recruiter on being able to relate to people, being able to sell a product, to then take that into anesthesiology where I can work in a stressful environment. I can handle it because even recruiting is not the easiest environment. And then I can be in charge of something that is literally somebody's life. And that is things that I am used to that I could transfer with me. So it works out.
So you staying in California, or are you gonna, move around a little bit when you have the opportunity?
So being a career recruiter, I do have the opportunity to go anywhere in the country and even outside of the country at some points. So our next goal, we're not quite sure yet. We have maybe another 3 years here left in California. I've been quite lucky to be able to stay in the same area. Now, my situation is a little different. I am actually dual military. So my husband is in the Marine Corps, and we have something called co-location. So the military, the Navy is very good about honoring co-location to try to keep us
Sure.
together. That way we can have a household together.
Yeah.
Because we have a 3-year-old.
All right. That's okay. Let's wrap up and have some fun. Okay, I got some questions, and they may be a little silly, but just always is I've wanted to know. Okay, who gets this to be stationed like in Hawaii or Okinawa? Like, how do you get those types of choices when you're stationed, or is it just luck of the draw?
So your first enlistment is always going to be based off of needs of the Navy. They're very short fused orders. You graduated school, good. Now we verify that you can be an electrician for the Navy, and this is where we currently need electricians that are brand new. And sometimes, depending on the schoolhouse, they'll let you have first pick based off of how you ranked in your class. Now, other times it's this is where we need you. Now, for any other enlistment after that or any other tour after that, you go into a negotiation window 12 months in advance with somebody we call a detailer. You put in your top 7 options of what's available, and then they select based off of there. You have 3 chances before it's needs of the Navy, but most people usually get picked up for their orders between their first and second try. So by their 12 to 10 month mark, they know where they're going. They had their 7 options. So again, I've been very lucky. I've chosen to stay in California, being from California, being home, and I've been here the majority of my 12 years.
Okay, what are the top 3 that like if you were looking at everybody's files, the top 3 destinations that you would guess most people would like, all right, these are the ones I wanted to go to.
I would say California, San Diego. Everybody loves San Diego. Sunny San Diego, right?
It's nice, yes.
Um, Florida is a big one as well, and Japan.
Really?
Yes, we have a lot of sailors that love going to Japan. I know there's a little bit of competition between the Sasebo Japan sailors and the Yokosuka Japan sailors. Some of them I've heard Sasebo is more fun than Yokosuka, but I'm not sure. I haven't been to Japan yet. But yes, it's actually surprising how much sailors love to go overseas. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Nowhere else are you going to be able to live in a different country on somebody else's dime, and it's zero risk to you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, wow, I would think, yeah, Japan would be unbelievable. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Rick. So, and then with the Navy, because we're Navy ships, right? We have to be by the coast. Let's think location, location, location. If you have to
Yeah.
be on a ship, when I say you have to be on a ship, I'm not talking about you have a 5-year sea tour, you have to be on that ship for 5 straight years. I'm talking about that's where your ship is for 5 years. Now, when that ship leaves, you leave with it. When it's not, you're there. So when you're thinking of where we're located stateside, we actually don't have a lot of options. They're not bad options. So we have San Diego, we have Washington State,
Okay.
Florida, Jacksonville, and Norfolk, Virginia. Those are our biggest hubs on stateside. So benefits of being close to the ocean. If you're an East Coast sailor, Europe is not that far to fly when you have your free time. For us, we have Hawaii, we have all the Asian countries as well. So that's honestly also what dictates where we end up, what ports we hit with our deployment. So it's a lot of fun. So based off of the coast you choose, now you know what your deployments are going to look like. And that's something that we take into account when we're choosing our orders. Hey, I haven't been to Europe yet. Let me go choose some Norfolk orders so that when I go on deployment, I'm stopping in England, Rome, Spain. And we actually do have bases in Europe.
Right.
We have some in Naples, Italy. We have some in Rota, Spain. So we're all over.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was always curious about how people get placed or whatever their preferences may be. Okay, I've taken up enough of your time, and thank you so much for joining the show. Now, if a student is interested, or not even a student, it can be anyone. If anyone is interested in finding out more about the Navy and how to sign up, what should they do? Who should they reach out to?
So you can always look up your local Navy recruiter on Navy.com. There's an option that says find your recruiter. You type in your zip code and it'll show you the closest Navy recruiting office to you. There is also a online survey that you can fill out through Navy.com. I'd say do both, because if you're looking to talk to a recruiter, you reach out to that office. Somebody will answer you. Somebody will get back to you. You reach out through the online. It might take about a week or so to get through the system. But if you put in your information, somebody will be contacting you through Navy.com.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, last thing. In your house, who wins the argument versus Navy and Marines? Which branch is better? Is it you? You or the husband?
What's the saying? Happy wife, happy life.
That's universal. Okay, fair enough. Navy wins. Brenda, thank you so much. It was a pleasure just speaking with you. So thankful for your service and all of your colleagues, all of our armed forces. Are very proud of this country and the work that you guys do in keeping us safe. And if we can help, we would love to. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Best wishes. And whether you're the electrician, the anesthesiologist, or whatever else you want to do, best wishes to you. And thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you, Rick.
Thanks for joining us on Solve for X. Please follow, like, and subscribe for more episodes. And until next time, keep asking the right questions and solving for X.